You ever have one of those nights that feel so normal, so safe, that danger is the last thing on your mind? That was me, sitting at the dinner table with my daughter Emily and her husband Ryan, until my phone buzzed with a message that changed everything. The text was from an unknown number. It said, "Get up and go. Don't say anything to your daughter." I froze. My fork was halfway to my mouth, my heart slamming against my chest. I glanced at Emily, sitting across from me with that bright, innocent smile she's had since she was a little girl. She was laughing at something Ryan had just said. Her brown eyes sparkled, her cheeks flushed from the wine. For a moment, it was like time stopped. What was I supposed to do with that message? Who sent it? Why me? Ryan was pouring another glass, his voice casual. "Your dad's got that same serious look he always has," he teased, nudging Emily. Emily laughed. "Dad, relax. We're not on trial tonight. It's just dinner." She said it so easily, with love in her voice, and I felt like I was split in two. On one side, I wanted to stay in this warm, ordinary moment, watching my daughter's happiness. On the other side, my instincts screamed at me that something wasn't right. My phone buzzed again. I kept it hidden under the table, glancing down without moving too much. Another text, this one even sharper. "Now." Before it's too late, I shifted in my chair, trying not to show the storm building inside me. Ryan lifted his glass toward me. "To family," he said, smiling like nothing was wrong. Emily joined in, her voice soft and sweet. "To family." I raised my glass, but my hands shook so badly I nearly spilled. Here's the thing about being a father. Even when your child grows up, even when she's married and living her own life, that protective instinct never goes away. I'd lost my wife years earlier, and Emily was all I had left. The thought of danger even brushing against her life, it was unbearable. And now I was staring at a message that told me I needed to get out. Quietly, without a word to her. I couldn't stop my mind from spinning. Was it a prank, a wrong number, or was this real? Was my daughter in danger right now and didn't even know it? Emily must have noticed something in my face because she tilted her head. "Dad, you okay? You look pale." I forced a smile, shaking my head. "Just a little tired." Long day. She didn't buy it. She leaned forward, her hand brushing mine on the table like she used to when she was a kid. "Are you sure?" "You're worrying me," I wanted to tell her. God, every part of me wanted to show her that text and ask her what she thought. But those words kept burning in my mind. Don't say anything to your daughter. Why not her? Why me? Ryan cleared his throat and broke the moment. Maybe he just needs a little air. It's kind of warm in here. He laughed, but something about it felt off. Forced. That's when I made my choice. I slid my chair back slowly, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out their voices. Emily's eyes followed me, concerned, but I forced my lips into something like a smile. "I'm fine," I said quietly. "Just remembered something at home. I'll be back in a minute." She frowned, confused, but nodded. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Everything all right?" I met his gaze for a second too long. His expression didn't change, but my gut twisted hard, telling me there was more going on under that calm surface. I stepped away from the table, my phone clutched in my pocket, every nerve in my body on fire. As I walked toward the front door, the warmth of dinner, the laughter, the clinking glasses, the smell of pot roast, faded behind me. My daughter's voice called faintly, "Dad?" But I didn't turn back. Because in that moment I realized something terrifying. Whoever sent me that message didn't just know where I was. They knew exactly what I was doing. And if I ignored it, if I stayed, I might never get the chance to protect my daughter again. So I obeyed. I stepped outside into the cool night air, my chest tight, my legs unsteady, not knowing that within minutes police would be pounding on their door, and that my entire world was about to come crashing down. When I think back to that night, what stands out most isn't the message that shattered everything. It's the way the evening started. Ordinary, warm, the kind of night that makes you forget that bad things exist in the world. Emily had been planning this dinner for weeks. She and Ryan had just bought their first home, a modest two-story on a quiet street lined with oak trees. She was proud of it. I could hear it in her voice every time she called. "Dad, you're going to love it," she'd told me. "The kitchen's big enough for me to finally try Mom's recipes." "You'll see," I didn't need to hear more. Just the fact she wanted me there, cooking her mother's food, meant the world to me. Walking through their front door that evening, I was hit by the smell of pot roast, rich, savory, with that hint of rosemary my late wife always used. It stopped me in my tracks. For a split second, I wasn't in Emily's new house. I was back in the old family kitchen, my wife humming softly as she stirred the pot, Emily setting the table with careful little hands. "Dad!" Emily's voice pulled me back. She rushed over, threw her arms around me, and suddenly I was holding not the little girl from my memory, but this grown woman who'd somehow carried pieces of her mother with her into adulthood. "You really made it," she said, her eyes shining. "Of course," I told her, my voice catching just a little. "Wouldn't miss it for the world." Ryan appeared behind her then, tall, sharp jawline, shirt neatly tucked. He extended a hand, smiling like he'd practiced it. "Good to see you, sir." I took his hand, nodded. "Good to see you too, Ryan." The surface. Everything about Ryan looked fine. Respectful. Polite. He held himself with confidence, maybe too much. I'd always told myself I was just being a protective father, suspicious of any man who thought he could take care of Emily better than I could. But even in moments like these, I couldn't shake the sense that something about him didn't quite fit. Still, I pushed that aside as we sat down. Emily had set the table with new dishes she was excited to show me, her mother's old recipe steaming at the center. She looked so happy. That was all I wanted. As we started eating, Emily leaned toward me with a hopeful smile. "So? How is it?" I took a bite, chewed slowly, and let the flavors settle on my tongue. It was almost perfect. Almost. "She'd be proud of you," I said finally, and meant it. "Tastes just like she used to make it." Her face lit up. She reached for Ryan's hand across the table, squeezing it. "See? I told you he'd notice." Ryan chuckled. "She's been practicing all week. You'd think she was training for a cooking competition." We all laughed, but underneath my smile there was a quiet ache. Emily had grown up. She was building a new life, one I wasn't at the center of anymore. That's how it should be. But as I sat there, I couldn't help noticing the distance, the unspoken things. A father feels it in his bones when something isn't right. Emily chatted away, telling me about her work at the hospital, the new neighbors, how Ryan had fixed a leaky faucet like some kind of home improvement hero. I nodded, listening, though my eyes kept drifting to him. He listened too, smiling at the right times, chiming in with a joke here and there, but his smile never reached his eyes. At one point, Emily excused herself to grab dessert. Ryan leaned back in his chair, rolling his shoulders. "She's really glad you came, you know. She talks about you all the time I studied him." His words were kind, but his tone carried something I couldn't pin down. Almost rehearsed. "I'm glad too," I said simply. Emily returned with a tray of apple pie, laughing about how she might have burned the crust. For a few minutes, everything felt light again. Normal. But normal has a way of being fragile. I didn't know it then, but while Emily was serving pie and Ryan was telling another story, danger was already closing in on us. My phone, resting silently in my pocket, was about to shatter the fragile picture of family I was clinging to. That night began with warmth, nostalgia, and the hope of a father watching his daughter step into adulthood. But beneath the laughter and the taste of pot roast, there was something waiting. Something I couldn't see yet, but would soon face head-on. Because love makes you blind. And I was blind, until my phone buzzed with the warning that ripped the evening wide open. The first buzz of my phone nearly went unnoticed under the sound of clinking silverware and Emily's laughter. I thought maybe it was just a reminder or a spam notification, but when I glanced down at the screen, everything inside me went cold. A number I didn't recognize. A message that stopped my heart. Get up and go. Don't say anything to your daughter. I blinked at the words, my brain refusing to process them. My first instinct was confusion. What kind of sick joke was this? Then the words, "Don't say anything to your daughter," slammed into me like a hammer. Whoever sent this knew I was with Emily. They knew where I was. I felt the color drain from my face. My hand trembled around the phone, and I quickly flipped it over, hiding the screen. Emily looked up from her plate, her smile faltering. "Dad? You okay?" I forced myself to breathe, to keep my voice even. "Yeah, sweetheart, just hot in here, that's all." She tilted her head, unconvinced, but Ryan cut in before she could press further. "Might be the wine," he said, chuckling as he poured more into her glass. "Loosens you up, right?" Emily rolled her eyes, laughing again, but I couldn't join her. My chest was tight, my ears ringing. I glanced at Ryan, watching him laugh. He seemed perfectly at ease. Too at ease. And suddenly, I hated myself for even wondering if he had something to do with this. But my gut had been whispering for months that something about him wasn't right. Now, the whisper was a roar. My phone buzzed again. I slid it onto my lap under the table, shielding the screen with my napkin. Another text, this one shorter, sharper. "Now." Before it's too late. My throat went dry. This wasn't random, this wasn't a mistake. Someone was watching me, warning me. I scanned the room with careful eyes, forcing my face to stay neutral. The living room window was cracked open a few inches, curtains swaying in the breeze. Outside, the quiet neighborhood stretched in both directions, streetlights flickering on. Was someone out there, right now, watching us? Emily's voice pulled me back. "Dad, are you sure you're all right? You look pale." Her concern stabbed me like a knife. She was so innocent in that moment, completely unaware of the storm that had entered the room. I wanted to tell her. God, I wanted to tell her. But the warning echoed in my mind. "Don't say anything to your daughter." "Just a long day," I muttered, forcing a small smile. "Work's been rough." She frowned, studying me, but Ryan cut in again with a smirk. "I told her she works too hard, now look who's overdoing it." He laughed and lifted his glass. "To family, right?" He was trying to lighten the mood, but the words sounded hollow to me. My grip tightened on the phone. My instincts screamed louder now. This wasn't just paranoia. This was real. I excused myself by leaning back, pretending to stretch. My heart hammered in my chest, my mind running in circles. If this was danger, what kind? A break-in, a gas leak, or something worse? And then the thought hit me like a sucker punch. What if the danger wasn't aimed at me? What if it was aimed at Emily? I swallowed hard, staring at her. She looked so happy, her cheeks flushed, her smile effortless. She trusted me to protect her. Even now, though she didn't realize it. My chest ached at the thought of letting her down. The fork slipped from my hand and clattered against the plate. The sound made Emily jump. "Dad?" I bent quickly, pretending to pick it up, but really, I was checking the phone again. The screen lit up. A third message. "If you love her, leave now." That was it. My blood ran ice cold. This wasn't just about me. It was about her. I sat back up, gripping the fork tight enough to hurt. My mind was torn in two. Do I obey, stand up and walk out, leaving Emily with no explanation? Or do I stay, risk both of us, and demand answers right here and now? Ryan was watching me. Not in an obvious way, but I caught it. His eyes flicking toward me when he thought I wasn't looking. It sent a chill crawling up my spine. Emily reached across the table, her voice soft. "Dad, talk to me. Please, you're scaring me." Her touch nearly broke me. Everything in me wanted to confess, to show her the phone and figure it out together. But those words, they haunted me. "Don't say anything to your daughter." Why? Why couldn't she know? The air in the room felt heavier by the second. My mind raced, my body tense. The normal family dinner was gone. In its place was a silent battlefield where I was the only one who knew a war was about to begin. I sat there with my daughter's hand on mine, Ryan's eyes on me, and a phone in my pocket that demanded I leave. And deep down, I realized I had no choice. The only question left was, would leaving save us or destroy us? I sat there with my phone burning in my pocket, my daughter's hand still resting gently on mine, and Ryan's watchful eyes flicking toward me. The weight of those messages pressed down on me so hard I could barely breathe. "Get up and go. Don't say anything to your daughter. If you love her, leave now." I wanted to ignore them. I wanted to stay right there, eat dessert, laugh at Emily's stories, and go home with the comforting thought that my daughter was happy in her new life. But every instinct in me screamed that staying meant danger, and maybe not just for me. Fathers make impossible choices. That's what no one tells you when you hold your baby girl for the first time. Sometimes protecting her means being the bad guy. Sometimes it means walking away without explanation. I squeezed her hand gently, forcing a smile that I didn't feel. "Sweetheart, I just need a minute." Something slipped my mind. "I'll be right back." Her brow furrowed. "Dad, what's going on?" "You're scaring me." Before I could answer, Ryan spoke up, his tone just a little too casual. "He's fine, Em. Probably just forgot to lock his car or something." I glanced at him. His smile was there, but his eyes stayed cold. My gut twisted. I pushed back from the table slowly, making my movements calm, deliberate, even though my heart was hammering like a drum. The chair scraped against the hardwood floor, and the sound felt deafening in the silence that followed. Emily half rose from her seat. "Dad?" I cut her off softly. "It's okay. Stay and eat. I'll just be a minute." I walked to the front door, every step heavier than the last. Behind me, I could feel Emily's eyes following me, her confusion, her concern. I wanted to turn around to go back and explain, but I kept walking. The door clicked shut behind me, and suddenly the air outside hit my face like a splash of ice water. The night was cool, still, eerily quiet. I stood on the porch for a second, gripping the railing, trying to steady my breathing. My phone buzzed again. I pulled it out with shaking hands. A fourth message lit up the screen. "Keep walking. Don't stop until you're clear." I looked back at the house. The warm glow from the dining room window spilled onto the lawn. Inside, I could see Emily moving around the table, her silhouette framed by the curtains. For a moment I almost disobeyed, almost walked back in. But then another car passed down the street, headlights cutting across the yard. I ducked instinctively, pressing myself into the shadows. Whoever had sent that text knew what they were doing. They were watching. I forced my legs to move. Down the steps, across the yard, onto the sidewalk. Each step felt like betrayal, like I was abandoning my daughter to something unknown. My chest ached so bad I thought I might collapse right there. Halfway down the block, I turned once more. Through the window, I saw Ryan stand, his figure looming behind Emily. He placed a hand on her shoulder, guiding her back into her seat. I couldn't hear their voices, but I could imagine Emily asking questions, trying to understand why her father had just walked out in the middle of dinner. It tore me apart, but I kept walking. The street stretched ahead, empty and quiet except for the occasional rustle of leaves. My phone buzzed again. This time, the message was different. "Stop. Stay out of sight. Don't go back." I ducked into the shadows behind a large oak tree across the street from their house. From here, I had a clear view of the front door. My breath came shallow, my body tense. Minutes passed like hours. I kept expecting Emily to open the door and call out for me, but she didn't. Instead, the silence was broken by something else, a low hum that grew louder. Then I saw them. Headlights appeared at the end of the street. 2 police cruisers rolled in slowly, their presence sharp and undeniable in the quiet neighborhood. My stomach dropped. The cars pulled up in front of Emily's house. Doors opened. Officers stepped out, hands on their belts, their faces set with grim determination. I stood frozen behind that tree, my pulse racing, as they moved up the driveway in formation. One of them knocked hard on the door, another calling Ryan's name. That was when it hit me. The texts weren't random, they weren't threats. They were warnings, meant to get me out before this moment. And now it was too late to stop what was coming. From my spot behind the oak tree, I watched the scene unfold like something out of a nightmare. Police cars lined the curb in front of my daughter's home, their red and blue lights painting the quiet street in violent flashes. Neighbors peeked through curtains, porch lights flicked on up and down the block, but all I could see was Emily's house, her safe little world, about to be torn apart. The first officer stepped forward, pounding on the door with his fist. "Ryan Gardner, police, open up." My breath caught. Emily appeared in the doorway, confusion written all over her face. She looked so small against the swarm of uniforms. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Ma'am, please step aside," the officer said firmly. Her hand gripped the edge of the door, her body half blocking the entrance. "Why? What's happening?" Before she could get an answer, Ryan appeared behind her. His face was pale, his jaw tight. He reached out, pulling Emily gently but firmly back from the doorway. "It's fine," he muttered to her, his voice low, urgent. "Go back inside." But the officers weren't waiting. They pushed past him, storming into the house with flashlights cutting through the hallway. Emily gasped, stumbling back as the sudden chaos swallowed her. I couldn't stay hidden anymore. I darted across the street, my legs pumping, my chest on fire. "Emily!" I shouted. The officers stopped me at the porch, hands raised. "Sir, stay back. That's my daughter in there," I yelled, my voice cracking. One officer moved closer, his eyes sharp. "You need to stay outside. This is a police matter I tried to push past, but his grip was iron. If you go in there, you'll compromise the operation," he snapped. "Do you want your daughter safe or not?" The words froze me. Safe. That's all I wanted. Through the open door, I saw the officers spreading out, one of them reading Ryan his rights. The sight of my son-in-law, Emily's husband, being shoved against the wall, his wrists pulled behind his back, shook me to my core. Emily screamed, "What are you doing? Stop it! He didn't do anything!" Ryan didn't fight, didn't argue. He just kept his head down, his jaw clenched, as the cuffs clicked shut around his wrists. "Ryan Gardner," one officer barked, "you're under arrest for fraud, identity theft, and obstruction of justice. You have the right to remain silent." Emily's voice cut through like glass shattering. "Fraud? What are you talking about?" She turned to Ryan, tears streaming down her face. "Tell them it's not true. Please, tell me it's not true." Ryan, finally, looked at her. For a moment I thought he might deny it, might fight back. But instead he just whispered, "I didn't want you to find out like this." Her knees buckled, and she nearly collapsed. I lunged forward, breaking free from the officer's grip, and caught her before she hit the ground. She clung to me like she was drowning, her sobs muffled against my chest. My mind was spinning. Fraud? Identity theft? Obstruction? How much of Ryan's life had been a lie? Had he ever loved her? Or was she just another cover? Another way to hide? The officers dragged him toward the door. Emily tore herself from me, reaching for him. "Ryan, tell me this isn't real, please." He turned his head, his eyes meeting hers for one fleeting moment. There was no anger there, no panic, just a hollow resignation. Then the officers pulled him outside, pushing him into the back of a cruiser. Emily collapsed against me again, her body shaking. "Dad, what's happening? He can't." Her words trailed into sobs. I held her tight, my own throat burning. In that moment, I understood why I'd been told to leave. The detectives hadn't been protecting me. They'd been making sure I was strong enough to protect her. One of the officers paused on the porch, lowering his voice as he looked at me. "Mr. Hayes? We sent you those texts. We knew we were moving in tonight. We needed you clear of the house. Things could have gone bad, and we couldn't risk collateral damage." I stared at him, my chest heavy. Why not warn my daughter, too? His eyes softened, but his answer was firm. "She trusts him. If we'd warned her, she might have told him, and then we'd lose everything." "I'm sorry." The words cut deep, but I understood. Emily hadn't just lost her husband. She'd lost the future she thought she had. And now she was leaning on me, broken, while the life she'd been building was dragged away in handcuffs. I stroked her hair, whispering the only thing I could. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere." But inside, I was reeling. Because that night wasn't just the night Ryan was exposed. It was the night I realized how fragile trust is, how quickly love can be shattered by secrets, and how far a father will go to protect his child, even from the people she loves most. The police cars pulled away, their sirens fading into the distance, leaving the neighborhood in stunned silence. The flashing lights disappeared, but the damage they left behind lingered like smoke after a fire. Emily and I stood on the porch, the night air cold against our skin. She was trembling, her hands clutching my arm so tightly I thought she might never let go. I didn't blame her. Everything she thought she knew about her life had been torn away in less than an hour. I wanted to shield her from it, to somehow make it disappear. But there are moments in life you can't protect your children from, no matter how badly you want to. "Dad," she whispered, her voice breaking, "they're lying, right? They have to be lying." Her words cut me deeper than any knife. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to tell her it was all a mistake, that Ryan would be home in the morning and everything would go back to normal. But I couldn't lie to her. Not now. I held her face in my hands, forcing her to meet my eyes. "Sweetheart, I don't know the whole truth yet. But I do know this. Whatever happens, you're not alone. I'm right here." Tears spilled down her cheeks, and she collapsed against me again. I wrapped my arms around her, and for the first time in years, she felt like my little girl again, the one who used to climb into my lap when she had nightmares, the one who believed I could keep the monsters away. But tonight, the monster had been inside her own home. The hours that followed blurred together. Officers came in and out, asking questions, searching the house for evidence. Emily sat numbly on the couch, her hands twisting the hem of her sweater, staring at the floor as though she could fall right through it. I sat beside her, answering what I could, deflecting when she couldn't. Every time she looked at me, I could see the same question in her eyes. How could the man I loved, the man I trusted, do this to me? And I didn't have an answer. When the last officer finally left, leaving the house eerily quiet again, Emily turned to me. Her voice was hoarse. "Dad, why did you leave?" Before it all happened, why did you walk out? The question I'd been dreading. I took a deep breath, the truth heavy on my tongue. Because someone warned me. I got a text. They told me to go, not to say anything to you. I didn't understand it, but I listened. Her eyes widened, confusion flashing across her face. "A text? From who?" "I don't know," I admitted. "But it saved me from being caught up in that raid. And it kept me close enough to be here when you needed me." She studied me for a long moment, her eyes searching mine. Then, quietly, she whispered, "You trusted a stranger more than me." The words stung, but I didn't flinch. "I trusted my instincts," I said softly, "and my instincts told me that if I stayed, things would end badly." I know it hurt you, Emily. I know it looked like I abandoned you, but I swear, I did it for you." Her lip trembled, and she nodded slowly. She didn't fully understand, not yet, but in time I hoped she would. That night, as she finally drifted off to sleep on the couch, her head resting against my shoulder, I sat awake, staring into the dark. My mind replayed every detail: Ryan's calm smile, the cold look in his eyes, the way the officers had spoken to me, and the texts. Someone out there had been watching, guiding me, making sure I was clear before the storm hit. I didn't know who. I didn't know if I ever would, but I was grateful, because their warning had given me the chance to do the one thing that mattered, to be there for my daughter when her world collapsed. Looking back now, I realize the lesson wasn't about fear or even about Ryan's betrayal. It was about trust, and how fragile it is. Emily's trust in Ryan shattered that night. And mine? Mine was tested in a way I never imagined. I learned that sometimes, as a parent, your choices won't make sense to your children. They might even hurt them in the moment. But if those choices keep them safe, if they keep you standing beside them when the walls come down, then they're worth it. The next morning, when Emily woke up with swollen eyes and a broken heart, she found me right where I promised I'd be, still by her side. And that's what I want you to remember. That no matter how old your children get, no matter how far they go, a father's duty never ends. Because when the world comes crashing down on them, they'll look for you. And you need to be there, ready to hold them up, even when you're broken yourself. That night, I didn't just save myself by walking out of that house. I saved her, and I will never regret obeying that text. And that's how one text message, sent from a number I didn't even know, changed everything about my life, my daughter's future, and the way I see trust. That night taught me something I'll never forget. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. But it also reminded me of the one truth I'll carry forever. No matter how old she gets, no matter how strong she thinks she is, a father's job is to protect his child. If this story hit you the way it hit me, do me a favor. Like this video so more people see it. Share it with someone who needs a reminder about trusting their instincts. And leave a comment below. What would you have done if you got that text? Would you have stayed or walked out like I did? Finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I've got more true stories, raw, emotional, and unforgettable, that I promise will keep you on the edge of your seat. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, trust your instincts, and remember, sometimes walking away is the bravest way to protect the ones you love.